Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
Because, here I am, I'm so dedicated to the interest of the people that I take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And I carry this around with me every single day. It has fomented issues with my mental health, and thank God, I have access to good medical care and insurance, and I've been able to get great treatment. I'm the poster child for proper mental health medication.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's had the good fortune to be treated as well as I have. I cannot imagine what my circumstances would be.
Yeah.
Well,
that's fascinating, man. I learn something every time we do this, but this is really cool.
You told me. And so the short version is kind of that once I started selling, and I had that year with 19,
Mm-hmm.
then I kind of slipped a bit. And I was doing 8, 10, 12 a year for a few years, but I was highly motivated. It just wasn't happening yet. This was during the period of years, following the crash. And I just did the best that I could. And I had decided I wanted to be an independent broker.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day, the compliance officer at the brokerage I was with red marked one of my contracts so that he could barely read the contract. And I was like, this was a beautiful transaction.
Right.
The buyer and the seller were lovely. I was pretty nice. The agent on the other side was an angel. And I just didn't like the way that it felt. So I walked into my manager's office. I said, I'm going to sign up today with Dwayne Gomer. I'm going to get my credits. I love Dwayne Gomer.
I do too. I've used Dwayne before. Yeah.
I want him to live to be 186, not 80.
Yeah.
I hope it happens forever. I got my license. When I got my license, I told him I'll be out the door as soon as I find the office space that I want.
Yeah.
And so I rented. I found it on my own. I found some space on Jimmy Durante, right near the fair. So, independent real estate broker, brick and mortar, with a Del Mar address.
There you go.
Business increased 250% immediately, simply because of market perceptions. Anyone on the North Coast that I met with was okay hiring me, and nobody in Mira Mesa or Claremont or Linda Vista or south of the 8 or into Shula or San Ysidro would have any problem because they're getting this allegedly great Del Mar agent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it plateaued at a particular level. For a couple of years, I had a team, and we sold a lot of houses and made more money. But I hated it because all I was doing was managing people.
Yeah.
I like being at a street level, talking to people who buy and sell homes, people like yourself who are industry colleagues, people in the mortgage business, people who are doing flipping, everything that's ancillary to what we do.
Yeah.
And so since then, I do 25 to 30 units a year, like clockwork. I don't care if it's, a former client's granddaughter who wants to buy, a 1-bedroom condo in Oceanside as their first home.
Yeah.
Or if it's a place in Santa Luz that's, $3.5 million.
Yeah.
Processes, everybody gets the same love and care and process.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that ahead of time. And they're either well aligned or they're not.
Yeah.
I walk. I won't let anyone hire me if we're not well aligned.
Yeah. Well, Life's too short, buddy. And I tell people all the time, once you understand this business, you're filtering them, not the other way around. I mean, it's just the way it is. You gotta watch out, like you said, you gotta watch out for your own well-being, right? And
Look at what it is that the people in their industry, most of the people in our industry do.
yeah,
They will work with anyone. They will work at whatever fee that person wants them to work.
yeah,
Imagine if when you listed a house, you took 3%. I do. When I list a house, I always take 3% on my side. What we
mhm,
offer is cooperating compensation, at least until the lawsuit is lost, if it is if it is lost.
yeah,
Uh, is just based upon market conditions. And imagine if let's say I was competing against someone for that listing and they
right.
want 2.5%. And the person says, well, would you do it for 2? So, what is that? 20% discount?
Mhm.
Because somebody asked, will you discount your services 20% simply because I asked you to? Can you imagine if an offer came in for $1 million on their $1 million house, and the agent said to the seller, well, it's only $800,000. It's a 20% discount, but I think you should really take it. It's a good offer.
You'll take that, won't you? Yeah.
So someone who's willing to negotiate away 20% of their fee just because somebody asked isn't going to be a strong negotiator on behalf of their client.
Amen.
I am. Every single client I meet with before I let them hire me. Did you hear that? Before I let them hire me,
Hmm.
I discuss my negotiating strategy with them, which I'm not going to do here because I don't want to give it away.
Right.
But it's
And that's okay. We're good with that.
highly effective, and it's genuine, and it's
Mhm.
professional, and it's kind, and it's thoughtful, and it praises. It praises the agent on the other side of the table because we know how hard it is
Mhm.
to list a house. I hate the term listing. To sign a residential listing agreement so that they can market the home that someone has made a life in. I wish
Mhm.
there was a term we could come up with other than listing.
Yeah.
That's our vernacular, not our
Yeah.
clients.
Well, present for sale.
Right, whatever it is. Uh,
Hmm.
and My God, do I love giving that speech about a negotiating strategy, because you know what? No one I compete with has one.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they never talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of your secret sauce, right?
That's part of it. I think it really comes down to trust at the end of the day.
It does.
At some point during my career, I went from remember Bob Bruss, the guy that wrote the column in the newspapers?
Hmm.
Yeah, and he would tell every home seller, interview 3 real estate agents, right? And so for a while, a lot of the time, I was one of those real estate agents getting interviewed, and
Hmm.
I'd get more than 1 out of 3 of the listings, but still, I was going through it. And then at some point, rather than using the scripts and dialogues I had learned, I came to understand the ideas behind them. So
Hmm.
I was able to basically uh, use my own voice and express the same ideas in my own voice with a character that is innate to who I am. And when I started doing that, people just hired me. They didn't
Yeah.
ask me because it smelled like leadership, and
Yep.
that's what they wanted.
Well, and you were congruent, right?
Yeah.
You were authentic, and that's a big deal.
Can I tell a dirty joke about being authentic?
Of course.
Okay. Um, a few times a year on Facebook, I post the following because I think it's so true, and because it's funny, people read it and then they try to apply it sometimes. Always be authentic, unless you're an asshole. Then don't be authentic.
Right.
Uh, and it is my mantra. Um, it's like Popeye. I am what I am,
Hmm.
and I don't want to be right for everybody. I want to be
Right.
right for people that I'm well aligned with, and then I do a bang up job for them.
Yeah.
In my career, my listings have sold, like going back to 1990, my listings have sold for above an average of 100% of list price every single year that I've worked,
That's awesome.
regardless of the market. So it's fun, and I joke that I have no other skills or talents, so I hope I can keep my real estate license because I don't know what else I do.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, congratulations. I'm happy for you. So, so now we're present day, right? And it sounds like your health is somewhat on track. It sounds like you're still kind of feeling it out and that kind of thing, but it sounds like it's getting better, right? So, is there anything today that you'd like to talk about that you're working on today?
Yeah. A couple of years ago, because I can't get life insurance because of the health issues,
Yeah,
to invest in some residential real estate somewhere that could provide cash flow for my family should I die younger than we would like me to.
protect them. Yeah.
Right. And as you know, Southern California real estate just requires so much cash,
Hmm.
highly problematic, no matter how successful you are at your business.
True.
And so I ignored Forbes and US News and World Report, and I looked at some metropolitan areas across the United States, looking at the data and interpreting it for myself. And I went and I visited Huntsville, Alabama, in North
Okay.
Carolina, which is nothing like the rest of the state.
Hmm.
Huntsville has more PhDs per capita than any metropolitan area in the United States except for Boston. And
Gotcha. Why is that?
NASA's there.
No,
Science,
NASA's there. Okay.
that's where they built the Saturn V rockets that went to the moon.
Okay. Okay.
That's where they built them. And so you've got aeronautics, you've got military, you've got that. Apple, Facebook, Google all have presences there now.
Wow.
About 15% of the Federal Bureau of Investigation personnel who used to be at Quantico are now at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville. It's
Yeah.
an area of about 500,000 and growing. Now I'll use US News in a positive way. Within the last couple of months, they've named it the best place for employment for people in tech.
Wow.
I'm sorry, that is not right. The best city above half or metro area above 500,000 people for employment in the United States.
Gotcha.
Third in the South for tech.
Okay.
Austin, Atlanta, and Huntsville.
Gotcha.
Also is named the best city to raise a family in the United States. And so I own some investment property there now,
Good for you.
which I'm real happy about. And interestingly, I've sold about a dozen or so investment properties to San Diego colleagues and friends and clients as well,
Mhm.
because they had the same need that I had.
Yeah, it works.
It works. Yeah. So, they pay, and because the purchase prices there are so much lower, some people, if they come into some money, they can just pay the mortgage off.
Yep.
And
Pretty cool.
it really is cool. So it's also a very civil town. Um, like any city, it's going to have some problems, but
Mhm.
people with widely varying opinions are polite to one another.
Mhm.
They don't break out in fistfights over it. They might show up at the same place at a planned political event, and everybody makes their appeals and says their piece, and then everybody walks out, and everyone's nice to each other.
And they go down the street and have supper together.
Pretty much, yeah.
That part of the country is very, very gentle, man. They're,
It is, and that doesn't mean it's unsophisticated.
no, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say in fact, my feeling about it, and I don't know how you feel about it, but my feeling about it is you have to be more sophisticated to have that sort of an approach. It's the lack of sophistication that's causing a lot of this division in our
Yes.
country. And, if you think correctly, and I believe the world should, but that's my opinion. If you believe correctly, you can love somebody that's the opposite of whatever your political situation is, just as much as you do somebody who's part of your political party,
Of course you can.
if not more, right?
I don't want to go out on a limb here too long about this.
It's okay, you can.
Jewish guy, right?
Yeah.
This window of time right now when these horrifying things are happening.
It's amazing.
The family that I am closest to in San Diego is a Palestinian family.
Yeah.
They own a restaurant and cafe called Fairuz Cafe and Gallery. It's on Midway, and I think of Ibrahim and Sammy as my brothers, and Sahara as my sister, and their daughter Haya as my little sister.
Mm-hmm.
And when we see each other, we kiss each other like old Russian men would.
Mm-hmm.
It's just love.
Yeah.
And if we can do it, anybody can.
I guarantee it. And it's what makes the world go around, man.
It really, it's funny. It translates to business.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the people that have the capacity to really love people in a in a correct way, and love everybody,
Mm-hmm.
see the good in them, and understand that we're all frail, flawed people underneath. Boy, do people respond to that well.
Yeah.
But
Amen, brother.
most people just, I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's the way they were raised. Maybe it's intelligence. Maybe it's environmental. I just don't know. Nature versus nurture. Who knows?
Yep.
That's not my expertise. But for the ones that do recognize that, and I can already tell that's you.
Yeah.
You must know that helps drive your business.
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely does. I grew up in Oklahoma, and the single most important influence or single most influential person in my life growing up was my grandfather. My grandfather was a dyed in the wool FDR Democrat. And I mean, big, New Deal, the whole thing. I mean, right. And that wasn't my political upbringing. But I couldn't have loved him more if I tried. There was no way. And I didn't agree with him on a lot of things. We disagreed on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, whether we agreed or we disagreed, we still loved each other, and we still took great care of each other,
I have people hire me from practically every political background you can imagine.
Yeah.
Hire me because they think I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Sometimes, I mean, I'm pretty progressive, but I have lots of clients who are conservative, and sometimes they hire me. Sometimes they hire me because they say, you know what?
Yeah.
If I was hiring someone for a political movement, I wouldn't hire you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really good at what you do. You're not dissing us because of our beliefs. When my wife went off about something which has nothing to do with real estate, we just smiled and said, "That's okay. Let's talk about real estate."
Yeah.
And they appreciated the professionalism. And I'm thinking of a specific instance here in Claremont, and I got a record high for a house of that square footage in Claremont. At the time, it was 600 grand, and everybody thought, "Oh my God, how did someone sell a house for 600 grand in Claremont?"
Yeah.
But it was quite an accomplishment, and they needed it. They needed it to be that accomplishment to accomplish what they wanted. So what's his name? I'm not going to use last names. Michael and Melinda, and he said, "We're hiring you because we think you're a rock star, and we desperately need a rock star."
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that term. Springsteen's a rock star. I'm just a real estate broker, but
Well, you real estate rock star,
yes, I guess
that's
so.
okay. That's okay.
I mean, I have an ego the size of a planet, but I try to be humble when I'm working, because I realize in the scheme of the world, what we do just isn't that important. That doesn't mean we don't want to do it as well as we possibly can for the people.
Absolutely. No, it's true. It's important to our clients.
Yeah,
it's everything to them.
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way. And to
Yep.
me, there's no gray. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
I have so enjoyed the bit of time we spent before you pressed the record button, and all of this time since. What a great time.
I really enjoyed it. I'm so glad Molly brought us together. And, Molly Coleman, for everybody, full disclosure, Molly Coleman referred you to me to be on the Mike Litton Experience. We did a podcast interview with her recently, Sean Patrick Murphy, who you used to work with. And so we've got a lot of people that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing, right? We had a lot of people around us that we're connected to. So I've thoroughly enjoyed this, Bruce, and it's been a lot of fun. Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up?
I think that's plenty for today. I'm looking forward to meeting you in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it. All right, buddy. Well, thank you again for your time, and thank you for being on the Mike Litton Experience.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. You take care, okay? We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.